Alright, welcome back guys. So the big story in the community this week was all about the Scott Jund and Tru3Talent dramas in regards to Nerf and SWF. Let's discuss my thoughts on the matter, so let's do this. Alright, so there has been some backwards and forwards going on between Scott, Tru3Talent, and generally the community has been swipes here and there. Without getting too much into the drama, let's recap on what the issue is. So Tru is on the side that Survivor Friends is busted and needs to be nerfed, and made some suggestions such as increasing gen times. Scott has come up with some ideas too, and these consisted of things like adding extra blood points or fixing the emblem system to reward and acknowledge you were playing in tough situations. Other content creators have come up with suggestions like buffing solo queue. So overall, what is the solution to this? Now, I'm going to give my thoughts on this. This is just my opinion. There is an issue if you buff solo players, and that's going to make it increasingly difficult for killers, and in my opinion is going to more than likely increase solo queue times as you're going to have less and less killers. I get what some people say, and to put it in easy terms, people will just say get good, but the killers and the survivors need to have a better experience and not feel they're overwhelmed with the game. Increasing or buffing solo queue could have that effect, and do we really want new players to be put off by the game? In my opinion, there has to be a decent learning curve to the game, and it's still sad that we see players in high ranks being matched with players way above their skill level. This is more than likely going to turn people away from the game, so a buff to survivors is truly going to require a buff to killers too, people are saying. If buffing solo queue is the way forward, then the issue that needs to be resolved is better matchmaking. This has got to be implemented, so basically we're not sending lambs to the slaughter. The same issue happens when players are practicing. So when players are practicing new killers, for example, they are finding it extremely difficult. It is difficult to learn a new killer, especially on the live servers. Now, what the devs have actually recently implemented, not quite yet, it wasn't a PTB, is a bot system to the tutorials. And I, for one, as part of the solution, would love for them to do the same for killers and survivor matches, where you can practice against bots to get a better understanding of that killer, or even if you're survivors, certain tiles and loops, so you're not learning under the pressures of the live servers. If you have listened to my podcast before, I have said that for me to nerf a Survivor Friends, it would have to be in regards to the perks available. So not everyone can take Dead Hard, Decisive, maybe it's limited to 2 people allowed. Let's call it collective perks rather than individuals like how you're doing solo. That for me would be a solution, and it is replicated in most tournaments played. In most tournaments there's a set criteria, only 2 can have this, only 2 can have that, and the mix and match that way. Implementing a system like that would be, I think, a good solution if you are thinking about nerfing Survivor Friends. The big issue with this, and this has been mentioned so many times, is as a community we do overestimate Survivor Friends. As soon as you mention Survivor Friends, everyone expects everyone to be alpha superior players, but I can only use my own games for experience and for examples, but usually Survivor Friends are just messing around, having a fun time with the friends, and usually they're very altruistic, not very efficient on gens. However, you will sometimes get the games, in my eyes it's once in a blue moon, where you will get that sweat squad. They are going to punish you at every opportunity, bang the gens out and get the hell out of there. These guys are probably at the top of the food chain when it comes to Dead by Daylight, and any killer is going to struggle against them. The big issue in the community is they are vastly overestimated how often you come to them. I don't want to go into individual creators and name them, but I've seen people say, oh, playing against gen rushes. Literally, I've watched a game and that killer hasn't pressured the gens efficiently. I've seen content creators say these are the top percent, and in one particular game from a content creator, and by the way, this wasn't Tru3Talent before you all jump in, this content creator was specifying he was playing against the top percentage. The game started, there was a Dwight hiding behind a barrel on Badams, doing nothing, he was downed within 5 seconds. That's not top percent, guys. I had this argument on the podcast and I was like, I played against a top percent team. However, when I've watched the video, not one of them could loop. I played badly and they ended up getting all the gens done. They weren't top percent, but initially when I first played them, I was like, there was nothing I could do. These were too good. How often we play these top percent is minimal. And I said it before in a video, show me a game you played against top percent, send me the clip. Show me there was nothing you can do better, and I can guarantee there will have been mistakes made from the killer. As well as mistakes, there's going to be games where you've just been messed around by certain tiles. The game has spawned an awful window, the game has spawned the survivors in the best location, right next to your totem, or some other bullshit like that. This happens, but this isn't exploited just by the top 1%, this is exploited by everybody. Now, is there a top percent in the community? There is a top percent, and the issue with these players are going to cause problems for everybody. Unfortunately, when you watch YouTube, you're very likely not going to see many creators putting the video up saying, oh, here is a game where I got 2 hooks and got whooped. It doesn't happen. So we all see content creators, maybe including myself as well, showing you the games where we performed. I watch Tru3Talent when I see he has named a video called the top percent. This isn't limited to just him, other creators do the same, and I usually watch a video and I'm like, man, you made so many mistakes, this is why you lost. Scott pointed this out to Tru. I totally understood where he was going with that and actually agreed with what he said, but this isn't just about Tru, this is a number of players that do that. I've said it on another video, I watch my games and this top elite survivor team that I thought I was playing, actually turns out that I made so many mistakes. I can pinpoint why I lost the game. So how often do you guys think you play the top percent? Like I said, the challenge is there. Send me the video, send it on Discord, let me see these top percent games you've had, how often you play them, and I'll see if this really was a top percent team. Does this mean that every game is winnable? Of course it's not. It's the nature of the beast, guys. Now, if you are a top killer, it's going to happen less often, but you will always remember those games and look for excuses. Some games, like Scott and other content creators have said, will literally come down to maps, RNG, the killer, mistakes from both sides, decision making. Do I go kick the gen? Do I hook? Do I slug? So there's so many variables in the game. Watch most of your games and I'm sure you will pinpoint where things have went wrong. This isn't to say you would have won, however, you would have given yourself a much better chance to perform better. This will improve you as a killer and it's going to ensure that you get good for the next time you have a tough game. However, currently, and as I said, it is in the community, people have this mentality that SWF is busted and what's the point? You're just waving the white flag before you've even started. I am going to acknowledge that what is busted in the game when you do play these tournament type teams is communication, but that is here to stay, unfortunately. So people having that discussion about that, I think it's pretty much pointless. I've played against the SWF, they were TTVs, watched it after, and I knew they were calling out my locations, where I was going during the game. That's hard to play against. I try to combat it by being unpredictable. I was spirit, so I could do that, and this comes down to another solution which I think we will discuss next in regards to how to improve playing against SWFs in the game. Alright, so I've rambled on for a bit, so let's have a look at the changes I would implement. I've already mentioned I would have a practice mode so you can practice each killer and get better with them, just the mechanics behind them, things like that, in a game against bots. For me, the biggest issue I have is that I see when a survivor friend's loading, you have all the telltale signs. It's not to say they are, by the way, it's not a guaranteed foolproof system, but I would swap and change the whole locking your killer in at the beginning. I am stronger with certain killers and I switched from Xbox to PC, so currently haven't got as many perks and add-ons unlocked on all the killers. I see a team load up together and there's some telltale signs, like I said, then I want the option to unlock the best killer I can play with, as well as the perks that will help me perform better against the SWF. I mentioned being unpredictable, so I'll chase with spirit, I'll suddenly change target mid-chase, knowing that a good SWF team are going to call it out, they're going to think I'm maybe chasing them still. You can't do that with other killers, you know, you're playing Myers, you haven't got that luxury, so let us as killers see the survivors and switch to a killer that we're comfortable with. I understand why they brought the whole lock mechanism in. MMR, it's been threatened now for a year, it's been switched on a couple of times and it hasn't happened. So if it is going to happen, by all means, nothing's going to change there. But if it's just going to be stalled again for another year, change the system. Allow the killers to be able to change who they go. People have been mentioning allowing the killers to see, and there was some great comments on the poll that I put on yesterday, such as linking the survivors or having them hold hands. I'm not sure on that one because I do think killers will dodge lobbies if I see a 4-man load up. Not sure if that's a viable solution. I think showing you in the end screen is a great idea because it will help you as a killer understand what you're up against. I would like to add that I'm not afraid of playing SWFs. I really enjoy the challenge and literally find chill games boring. I want the sweat fests, I want the tough games, I want to keep pushing myself to improve, so SWFs for me aren't as daunting as they sound. This is a narrative that's pushed by most of the content creators in the community, but I don't believe it's the right one to push. These top SWFs are few and far between, and I've come across excellent teams that were made up of 4 really good solo players. So I for one wouldn't mind knowing beforehand if they are SWFs, but I do believe overall that there is going to be people dodging, but if we were to implement that, it would certainly help, especially if the devs allow us to change the killers. This doesn't just apply to SWFs. I've come across some really well-known TTVs or known streamers, and I've always guaranteed to be like, right, let's try some tricksters. Next thing I know, I've got a 5,000 hour streamer, and I'm like, oh man, it's just like sending me into a gun battle with a spoon, you know, and I wish it would let me change the killers. Finally, I will add that there is a certain expectation on the content creators too, and what you need to remember, guys and girls, is that there is certain pressures to perform. I've recently changed my gamer tag and took YouTube off, and this was only for the reason that when I played a team or survivors beat me, they'd be like, YouTube, or they'd come to my channel and be like, whooped you and you boosted. It's annoying, and I'm sure for the bigger content creators, this is a certain aspect that will affect their thinking. We are used to watching them beat, win, get these win streaks, grandmaster challenges, so there is an expectation from their supporters and viewers that they will annihilate anyone they play. So as soon as they do get beat, the defense mechanism kicks in, and it's a normal human reaction to initially look for excuses on why they got beat rather than acknowledge their mistakes, and usually I do see people playing the blame game. Is Dead by Daylight close to balance? I really believe it is. Will this ensure that you win every game? Then no. For me personally, that would take away the unpredictability of the game. So enjoy the games, guys. Win the games, be proud, don't gloat, no one loves a gloater, but take your L's like an adult and try to learn off them. That is the key, is learning what went wrong and changing it for next time. Change your gameplay to improve for next time. Hope that all made sense, and let me know what you think, guys. What changes would you make to SWFs? Would you change anything at all, or will you just keep things the same? Till the next time, guys, bye bye.